I am continuing my series on Bible codes today, and I hope you will check out the series. Today I want to post my conversation with ChatGPT about Bible codes. My first question to ChatGPT was answered with a very biased answer. It was heavily skewed in favor of the skeptics, and basically it warned me not to take Bible codes seriously for they had been debunked. I just felt that this bias was reflective of the programmer's bias, junk in, junk out. I decided to follow up with more questions, and here they are. Question 1. My null hypothesis is that ELS codes in the Bible are not statistically significant. However, I have a code with a standard deviation of 384,011.50 and an expected occurrence of 0.00000. I have other codes with standard deviations in the thousands and hundreds. Is my null hypothesis wrong? This was the answer. It's difficult to determine whether your null hypothesis is wrong based solely on the standard deviation and expected occurrence of your ELS codes. The statistical significance of the ELS codes would depend on the specific test you are using and the significance level you have chosen. Additionally, the significance of ELS codes in the Bible is a matter of debate and interpretation. That being said, it's worth noting that a standard deviation of 384,011.50 is quite large, which could suggest that there is a significant amount of variability in your data. It's possible that this variability could impact the statistical significance of your results. It may be helpful to consult with a statistician or other expert in your field to better understand the significance of your findings. And then I followed up with, statisticians have already said that this code and other codes with high standard deviations are statistically significant. Can I trust the results? Answer. If statisticians have already analyzed your data and determined that the codes with high standard deviations are statistically significant, then you can generally trust the results. However, it's important to understand that statistical significance does not necessarily imply practical significance or meaningfulness. It's also worth noting that the statistical significance of ELS codes in the Bible is a matter of debate and interpretation. While some researchers have found statistically significant results, others have argued that the methods used to identify the codes are not reliable or that the results are simply due to chance. Ultimately, the interpretation of your results would depend on your research question and the context of your study. If you are studying the significance of ELS codes in the Bible, then the statistical significance of your findings may be important. However, if your research question is focused on a different topic, then the significance of ELS codes may not be relevant to your study. And I replied, I am studying if ELS codes in the Bible are statistically significant. The critics admit they falsified data to achieve the results they wanted to debunk the Bible codes. They said they used falsified data because they believed their opponents had falsified data, and they wanted to prove it could be done. However, I have seen the testing being carried out by those who promote the statistical significance of Bible codes, and it would be impossible for them to falsify anything. Are these facts important in determining if the Bible codes are legitimate? And the answer was, the fact that some researchers may have falsified data to achieve their desired results is certainly concerning, and highlights the importance of conducting rigorous and transparent research. However, it's important to evaluate the evidence for the statistical significance of Bible codes based on the methods and results of valid and unbiased research studies. I'll just add that those don't exist. If you have observed the testing being carried out by researchers who promote the statistical significance of Bible codes and are confident in the validity and reliability of their methods, then that is certainly a positive factor in favor of the legitimacy of Bible codes. Get that, legitimacy of Bible codes from ChatGPT. However, it's important to consider the broader body of research on this topic, including studies that may have reached different conclusions. Ultimately, the legitimacy of Bible codes is a matter of debate and interpretation, and researchers may have different opinions on the significance of the findings. It's important to evaluate evidence critically and make informed decisions based on the available data. And I said, yes, I agree, and I have studied both sides of this debate for 20 years. After everything I have observed, I have determined that the Bible codes are a legitimate phenomenon. The critics are given the final word, and the proponents are silenced and mocked. Does this have any appearance of bias? And the answer was, if one side of a debate is consistently given the final word, while the other side is silenced, that could certainly suggest bias in the discussion. It's important to ensure that all viewpoints are heard and considered in order to arrive at an informed and unbiased conclusion. And I'll just add that that hasn't been done. In scientific research, it's essential to approach a topic with an open mind and evaluate the evidence objectively, regardless of any personal beliefs or biases. Researchers should strive to engage in open and transparent discourse, presenting their methods and results clearly and honestly, and welcoming constructive criticism from their peers. If there is a perception of bias in a particular field of research, it's important to work towards greater transparency, diversity, and inclusivity in order to ensure that all voices are heard and all perspectives are considered. That's the end of the conversation. The latter has not happened in 20 years. That hasn't happened. There has not been, people have not put aside their bias. But anyway, that's a nearly 180-degree turn from the original warning that ChatGPT gave me about Bible codes. It went from telling me that there was no statistical significance and no legitimacy to Bible codes to telling me that there are things that are positive factors in favor of the legitimacy of Bible codes. And I find that significant. Now, the reason I'm doing this series is because I want people to reconsider the truth of the Bible. And I think the Bible codes are one way to get people's attention. Focus it back on the Bible and help them to realize that the Bible is the truth. God wrote the book. Only God could have encoded it, and only God knows the future. So I want people to once again reconsider the Bible. It has been mocked and it has been silenced. And many people treat it as if there's no truth to it at all. But that is the lie. And that has been devastating for our culture. It's been devastating for our children, and it's been devastating for our lives. And the truth is the Bible. I hope you will read it, pray about it, consider it, and I pray you will read it from cover to cover. But I recommend starting in the New Testament and realize that that is where the truth is, and the culture has lied to you. Only the Bible will tell you the truth, and only the Bible can save you. This culture is condemning you. Please don't trust it. Trust God, and trust His only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. He is the Savior of the world. He is your Savior, and I hope you will soon realize that, if you haven't already. Thanks for listening.